It must be bedtime because you came to see me again. I'm so glad you did. I really like being your sleepy time pal. You probably don't remember my name. It's a long one. That's because I come from a long line of English Bloodhounds, and I was named after my father, my grandfather, and his grandfather too. Baron Baxter Barclay Bloodworth III. But do you know what most people call me? Yeah, that's right, Snoozles. Snoozles because I love to sleep, and sleep, and then sleep a little more. But that's not all I do. I'm not lazy or anything. I like to play too. And when I do, I play real hard. But then, when the day's all gone and the stars begin to twinkle in the sky, that's when I love to sleep. Because that's the time I have all to myself. I can be anybody I want to be. I can think about anything, and most importantly, I can dream about everything. And I must say, I'm getting pretty good at it. I can dream some fantastic things, like the time I was a pilot on a big airplane that could fly all the way to the moon, or the time I built a boat that could go underwater. Yes, a submarine, and I sailed it to the bottom of the ocean, up to the moon, down in the sea. There are so many places you could be. Won't you come along with me and I'll tell you about some of my favorite places and my favorite dreams.
I'm Snoozles, the Snuggle Hound, a friend I hope you'll keep. And we'll put our heads together on the pillow counting sheep, with oodles and boodles of dreams extraordinaire. Snoozles, the Snuggle Hound, can fall asleep anywhere. Yes, Snoozles, the Snuggle Hound, can fall asleep anywhere.
Like I told you, I, Snoozles, love to play, don't you? Where do you like to go when you play? Outside in the yard? Or to the park? At school with your friends? I'll tell you about one place I like to go, my grandma's house, because she lives way out in the country on a farm with lots of animals like horses and cows, goats and sheep, and those silly pigs. Did you know that pigs don't mind getting dirty? They kind of like rolling around in the mud. I remember one time when Grandpa and I went out to feed them. As I turned on the hose and filled up their pig pen with water, one of those pigs came up behind me and pushed me over, face first, and I fell down into a big mud puddle. He was just trying to have some fun, so I hopped up on his back and tried to hold on as he jumped up and down like a wild horse. Then, with one big kick, he threw me into the air and I landed with a big splash in the mud puddle once again. Grandpa laughed as I stood up in the water. He said I looked like a big brown bear with all that mud on me. Well, that night I remember I had to take an extra long bath to get all clean again. But when I think back on all the fun I had, it was worth it. Yes, I like going to my grandma's house. In fact, I even wrote a song about it. Did you know that anybody can write a song? It's true. All you have to do is think of something you want to say and then sing it. Like this.
There are many places a dog might like to go, just having fun, running in the sun or romping in the snow, or jumping in a river and shaking water from my hair. But there's a place lights up my face whenever I go there. Well, I want to go back to Grandma's house and climb up on her knee. Yes, I want to go back to Grandma's house. She loves to play with me. She's got toys in every closet and games in every drawer. If we run out of things to do, Grandma thinks of more. Then we spin around in circles and roll across the floor to do some tricks and chase some sticks. That's what I'm living for. Well, I want to go back to Grandma's house and climb up on her knee. I want to go back to Grandma's house. She loves to play with me. She lives out on a farm, away from the city lights, and you can see a million stars almost every night. That's when she tells us stories and sings a little tune. Or we might spend the whole night long howling at the moon. Oh, wanna go back to Grandma's house and climb up on her knee. I wanna go back to Grandma's house. She loves to play with me. One time she knitted me a sweater so big you'd not believe. I had to put it on with a ladder. I got lost inside a sleeve. Would Grandma ever find me? I'm in here, she heard me shout. She hung the sweater upside down, and then I slid right out. Well, I wanna go back to Grandma's house and climb up on her knee. Yes, I wanna go back to Grandma's house. She loves to play with me. Grandma's always cooking something good to eat. Apple pies of gigantic size and lots of tasty treats. Mom says Grandma spoils me like no other boys or girls. In fact, I suspect that Grandma thinks I'm the only kid in the world. Of course, I know I'm not, but if that makes Grandma happy, I'll just let her go ahead and believe it. Well, I want to go back to Grandma's house and climb up on her knee. I want to go back to Grandma's house. She loves to play with me.
Yes, I always have adventures when I visit my grandma and grandpa. As a matter of fact, I have adventures almost every day. And I'll tell you about one of them right now. It was a lazy afternoon on a warm summer's day, and I was looking for a nice, quiet place to take a nap. I saw a bunch of boxes sitting outside a house, so I crawled inside one of them and closed my eyes and fell into a deep sleep. I didn't know that these boxers were being sent away to some other place, but I would soon find out because the box in which I was sleeping began to rock back and forth. It was moving. I was moving. Where, I did not know. I climbed out of the box and, to my surprise, I discovered that I was on a train that was speeding down the railroad track. I couldn't see my town anywhere, but I could see for miles and miles across rolling hills that became a forest in the distance. It was a beautiful sight, but the only thing I could think of was, I've got to get back home. But which way was that? North or south? East or west? Well, I could see that we were heading toward the setting sun, that would be west. But the train was racing along too fast for me to jump off. Finally, it came to a stop, and I jumped off and began running back the other way, to the east. I kept running until it began to get dark, and I came upon a big river. How would I get around it? And that's when I saw a small raft sitting on the bank of the river. With all my might, I pushed the raft away from the shore, jumped on top, and began floating slowly down the river. It was so quiet, just the sound of water trickling by. I looked up and saw lots of stars in the sky. I found the North Star off to my left, then I knew I was going the right direction. I heard a sound up ahead, then I saw it. A big fishing boat was heading right towards me. I was about to jump off the raft when I realized the boat was going to miss me. It seemed huge as it passed alongside me. I could see the fishermen working hard, rolling up their nets under the lights. Then it slowly disappeared from sight and it was dark again. I kept floating down the river, wondering if I'd ever get home, when I saw some lights up ahead. I was heading toward a town. Soon I was floating past a park where people were having fun, kids playing on the swings. I could hear music playing and people were dancing and laughing. But I didn't know any of these people. I didn't know this town. I had no choice but to keep on going. The town and all its people began to fade into the distance. It was quiet once again. The sound of the river made me tired. My eyes began to close, and before I knew it, I was once again doing my favorite thing, sleeping. I must have slept for a long time because when I awoke, the sky in the east was getting light. The sun would be coming up soon. I looked around and I saw that the water was moving faster. Up ahead, the river was becoming a waterfall. I didn't want to go over the edge, so I jumped off the raft and began swimming as fast as I could toward the shore. I pulled myself out of the water, and then I heard the sound of cars coming from the other side of a big hill in front of me. I climbed to the top of that hill, and I saw a big highway with lots of cars and trucks driving by. Some of the trucks had stopped to get gas. That's when I had an idea. I ran toward one of the trucks that was about to leave, and I jumped up into the back of it. The truck began driving down that highway, and the wind was blowing my hair all around. The sun was up now, and when the cars on the highway would pass alongside us, the people inside those cars could see me sitting on the back of the truck, and they smiled and waved at me. Before I knew it, I saw a sign that made me as happy as I've ever been. The sign said that my town was only 10 miles away. Soon I could see the farm where my grandma and grandpa lived. There were the horses and the cows and the pigs that roll in the mud. It wouldn't be long now before we passed my street. I had to get out of this truck, but it was going much too fast for me to jump off. I began barking as loud as I could, and the truck driver must have heard me because he pulled off the road and came to a stop. That's when I jumped out and began running toward my street. I turned around and saw the truck driver waving goodbye to me. He was laughing. He wasn't mad at me for riding on his truck. He was nice. I ran along my street until I finally saw my house. I was home. My family saw me coming and they ran to meet me. We hugged and we kissed. They were kind of mad at me for getting lost, but they were so happy I was back home again. Well, I learned one thing that day. A dog should never stray too far from home. It might be hard to find your way back again. I ran inside the house and curled up on my favorite rug and closed my eyes and took a long nap and had peaceful dreams about floating down a river underneath a sky filled with twinkling stars. I knew that when I woke up this time, I would be at home with my family who loves me, and that felt really good. Now you have sweet dreams too, and I'll be seeing you again real soon.